much. Could I ask you why you decided to work through some of the guidance in the Employability Leisure Guides?
Yeah, so a few reasons really. Obviously we want to ensure that we're offering both our employees and learners the most accessible training possible in terms of job role, but also what we offer to our learners in terms of products. And found that this was a really good way of doing that, just to learn about that accessibility, the employability side of things, and just for us all to make sure that we're reaching all the correct standards, that we're ensuring that all learners have equal accessibility to our qualifications and our courses. So that it's fair across the board in terms of linking to our policies and procedures.
Excellent, thank you very much. Were there any sections in the guides that you found most useful, and why, if you were able to add a line?
Yeah, there was quite a few areas that we found useful, and we've either implemented already, or we are endeavouring to implement over sort of the next, the 12 months that we've been working with you guys and further ahead. I think just around terminology was really important for us, just to make sure that we are using the correct terminology, the most up-to-date terminology, again, just to make sure that people are aware that we do find accessibility important and that we're taking it seriously. From my side of things, obviously working with the teaching and learning aspect of the company, was making sure that our tutors, assessors, again, were aware of different areas of accessibility, that they were able to adapt assessments, looking at different ways they can adapt assessments, ways of talking to learners. Again, just to make sure that learner has a smooth journey as any other learner would have, and that they don't feel that they may be treated differently, or that they have additional barriers that they have to go through to reach the same outcome.
Perfect, thank you. How did you decide where to start?
We had a kick-off meeting right at the very beginning. Some people from Employability Leisure came in to see us. We started off sort of from a managerial viewpoint, got all of us into a room. Some of your staff were, really helpful with questions that we had to ask from different department viewpoints. So it was a good opportunity on that day for the managerial team to learn as much as they could, to ask those questions, to see it from different viewpoints across that team, and then for us obviously to filter that down. We gained quite a lot of support, again, from other members of the Employability Leisure team. They put on some webinars for us, allowed our tutors to attend. They supported our marketing team in terms of terminology, ways, who we could maybe communicate with, how to communicate on our social media platforms, for example.
Excellent. How well do you think you were doing with regards to inclusivity and accessibility previously, and did your perception change at all after reading the guidance?
Yes, I think if you'd have asked us prior to, we would have, being honest, we probably would have agreed that we had areas that we could work on. I feel like that it was an area that we all were passionate about, but maybe didn't necessarily know the direction to go in initially. And that's obviously why we wanted the guidance from somebody like Employability Leisure to give us that guidance. So I would say that we've come a long way in the last year in terms of awareness, understanding, and then use of the knowledge and skills that you've given to us.
Brilliant, thank you. What have been the most important learning points for yourself and your organisation?
So collectively, I think awareness, again, I've mentioned it already, but awareness around terminology, how to communicate with learners without any bias, with trying to try to include everybody in terms of anything that we put out on social media, anything that we offer in terms of qualifications. Again, from a curriculum perspective, ensuring that we are inclusive in our wording, in our assessment processes, in our e-learning. So obviously we've looked at our e-learning platforms, making sure that, again, they're open and accessible to everybody. So I would say that that's obviously, learners are at the heart of what we do. So making sure that every learner has the best experience possible, and the easy experience in terms of navigating through their qualification is probably paramount to us. So anything we learned around that area was definitely advantageous.
Brilliant. What have been, or would you say are your biggest challenges?
I think, again, I do speak more from a curriculum perspective, because that's sort of the department I'm mainly focusing and working in. I guess it's I think it's partly knowledge, obviously from our viewpoint, to appreciate and empathise from all different aspects and different learner types. So that's an area that we continue to work on, and that comes from research, knowledge, understanding, talking to people, getting feedback from learners. So we are working on that, but that is an area that obviously we carry on trying to work towards, and just keeping up to date with sort of current policies, procedures, knowledge. But also just in terms of our qualifications, because we've got a huge suite of qualifications that obviously we've been running for 30 years this year. So it's really also going back over those previous courses and just ensuring that they are, fit for all learners, and that we are making sure that we're inclusive to all of those. And then obviously moving forward, new qualifications coming out. We're more mindful now, we're more knowledgeable now, so that's slightly easier. But it's the retrospective courses, going back and making sure that they are, they're suitable to everybody.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay. What would perfect look like for you at Future Fit?
I would say that we're pretty much there anyway. There's always stuff that we want to work on, develop, and progress in. But I feel like I'm repeating a little bit. Sorry, but I just feel that, irrelevant of a learner's situation, background, challenges, aspirations, that every learner has the best journey for themselves and for them, and comes out not only with a qualification, obviously, which is for them is probably the ultimate goal, but also that journey that they've had is empowering. It's learning, it's helping them with the industry. Our goal is not only to qualify somebody, but it's also to give them the tools to move into the industry successfully. And we do an awful lot of work, with other employers, other companies, getting people out into the industry, finding work, being employable. So I guess for us, the perfect look is to have 100% of our learners being successful and going into the career that they chose by starting off with the Future Fit journey.
What would be your top tips for others seeking to improve access and inclusion for disabled people in their organisation or on their courses?
I think being open-minded to how diverse we are, and that everyone's journey is different, and trying to appreciate that, empathise with that, and looking for ways to always think outside the box, and to sort of think of different viewpoints. I think also working with a company like yourself in terms of EmployAbility Leisure, actually going out and talking to people that do have that knowledge, that do have the experience, that do have that understanding. They have different, we really enjoyed working with the scenarios, for example, that we did on a workshop day. Just being able to discuss those points, and sometimes maybe trickier conversations as well, that maybe you try to avoid sometimes, but that they all need to be had, I think, in a safe environment to have those conversations, and just sort of pushing that through to the rest of the team and the rest of the staff, bringing everybody on board, making sure that we're all sort of singing off the same page.